Now, you may have noticed that there's two pedals I haven't talked about on here, and there's this thing next to me. Basically, what's going on here is I go from the guitar into the coily cable, which is a must-have, into the wah, into the multi-wave distortion, into the tuner, into the ultimate octave pedal, into the univibe, out to the amplifier, which is the preamp of which is my, distortion gain engine. Instead of having a pedal for the, for overdrives and distortions, I'm making the most of the Black Star for that. Then I come out of the effects send after the preamp, and I go into the Decimator pedal, which is a noise gate. With the noise gate off, it sounds like this. You can hear the ocean. Some settings I don't need it on. Sometimes when the band's full bore and I want to actually generate as much noise as I can, I'll just shut it off. So I like having that right there. From the Decimator pedal, I go to the Chaos pad. Now the Chaos pad is the Chaos pad's a DJ effect. Back in the late '90s, I read a review in Guitar World magazine, a very insightful review of the Chaos pad that said it had absolutely no live application for guitar players. So, I don't know if I took that as a challenge or what, but at that point in time, I was, and even to this day, I'm sometimes I get really bored with how many Tube Screamer reissues does the world need? It's how many, there isn't a lot of innovation in the world of pedal manufacturing. So I was looking to DJ effects to see how I could manipulate my tone in real time, how many parameters I could get my hands or fingers on, how expressive I could get them to be. And so when I read that it wouldn't work for guitar players, I went out and I got one the next day and used it on a gig that night. The thing about the Chaos pad is there's plenty of sounds to be gotten from it if you put it in front of the distortion, but I find that I like it after the distortion because it seems a little more otherworldly, or it seems more like you're actually just messing with reality. It completely gets in the way of the sound of the guitar. It sounds like a post-production effect. It sounds like something you might have done in Pro Tools or something like that. And I've got it allows you to have 8 different presets, actually preset 8 is a sampling preset, which I rarely use. It's a little bit of a pain because it's RCA, because it's meant to be used with turntables or used in the studio. But you cannot change the presets on it because you're changing the presets all the time by moving your hand on the screen, and that's where the expression aspect of this comes into play. I'll show you. I'm just going to play an A chord and move some stuff around. Here's the first preset I have, which is a what I'm going to do is turn the sustainer on in my guitar so you can hear the note. The note will sustain, and you can hear me manipulate it. After I'm done with this, I'll explain to you what the sustainer is and some things about the guitar. it's just basically a phase or flanger type setting that I'm manipulating. Number 2 was one of my favorites, being a Tommy Bolin fan. One of back in the day when he played on the Billy Cobham Spectrum album, and when he took Joe Walsh's place with the James Gang, and also when he took Ritchie Blackmore's place with Deep Purple. He used to use an Echoplex and do these runaway echoes where you could speed them up and slow them down. I've always loved that effect. This lets you do that, and then also a little bit more, or quite a bit more. This is one of my favorite things to do. One of the other things you can do with this is it has, if you notice, it has a hold button on it, and you can hold the sound, just like it says. So if I play, another thing I should explain is that it doesn't engage until you touch it, which is cool. I like the fact that you don't have to step on a button. You don't have to step on a button and then reach for the screen. It's instantaneous when you put your hand on it. Okay, I'm holding the sound now. And you can hear it feeding back on itself. Either that or someone's riding a lawnmower down the street. Definitely not a lawnmower. Anyway, that's one more setting. Setting number 3, I just have set up for a more just a light delay with some reverb. A little more top end, a little more. More subtle, not too subtle. I'm not exactly a subtle guy when it comes to effects. Number 4. So it's obvious that's backwards. Next one is ring modulator. what I tend to do is I set them, when I store the patches, I store it on one. Some will come on in the hold position as soon as they come on, like this one in particular with the ring modulator number 5, I've got stored so that the tone of it and the ring modulator overtone is something that I is one that I like, and then I can manipulate that after the fact. Something about the ring modulator makes me want to play bad Mahavishnu, Jan Hammer, John McLaughlin licks. And it will stay wherever I leave it. If I bend it, as long as the hold's on, it'll stay there. The next one is it's a delay setting, but I can change the tempo by tapping. So that's pretty obvious what's going on. And there's also various filters, which is kind of cool if you've got something set up rhythmically and you want the delay to come out. There you go. Number 7 is a pitch bend. The other thing about this, what brought me to it was I used to use all through Tin Machine. Everyone thought I had racks of gear, and I had a Mesa Boogie preamp, a Dunlop fuzz wah, and a IPS 33B harmonizer, which was one of the early Smart Shift harmonizers that Digitech made in conjunction with IVL. And essentially what that was it did Smart Shift, it did delay stuff, it did pitch correct, it did took 2 expression pedals which you could assign to any 2 parameters. So it was the whammy pedal in a rack mount plus a lot of other stuff, and you had to do a little bit of programming you had to spend some time with it, but my way I explained how well I got to know that box was like if that single rack space piece of gear was an apartment complex, and each patch was a room in there. I knew everything that was in every corner of every room in that building, and then the whammy pedal came along, and some people did nice work with it. Other people just used it like it was a wah-wah pedal, and I felt like in a way that Digitech did it. It kind of took a great idea and put it in the hands of idiots a lot of the time, and so I wanted to find something that would still let me do some of that stuff, but not be a whammy pedal. And one of the patches on here lets me do exactly that. And I can hold it if I want. It's just silly, and it also lets you have some random pitch access, which you can't with the whammy pedal. And the other thing I find with this is that at the end of the day, people, audiences, we all tend we hear to a certain degree with our eyes. And the idea of having something that's not on the floor, but so you're not shoegazing, and that's expressive, that you have to reach for, helps you communicate with the audience better. It helps them to understand what you're doing, but also to see the expression of the sound by your body language, and how, the fact that you have to reach for this, and the fact that it has some little multicolored lights in there makes it more interesting, and it directs the listener's ear, by showing them something visual.